Ladies and gentlemen, something huge just happened. And before anybody tries to downplay it, before the media tries to confuse you, I'm going to go ahead and jump in right now because as of today, we have two massive developments colliding at the same time. So number one, the November 12th Social Security checks just went out, the first wave, and millions of seniors born between the 1st and the 10th finally saw their paychecks and their payments land. But number two, this is where everything explodes. President Donald J. Trump just triggered a new timeline on the $2,000 tariff dividend check. Now, this is a brand new shift here. This is a brand new eligibility leak. And even Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he hinted moments ago that an income cap may now be on the table. Now, folks, this is not what everybody expected. In fact, this is not what anybody expected. This is not the timeline that was circulating all month. And this is not the same calm, predictable rollout that we were told to prepare for. Something changed behind the scenes fast, right as the November 12th payments hit bank accounts. And so now millions of Americans are asking the exact same question. Does the new Trump timeline mean that you actually qualify? And did the $2,000 check move closer, or did the rules just suddenly tighten? Well, we've got seniors panicking, we've got workers confused, and Social Security recipients watching their bank accounts like hawks, because this is the moment right now, guys, and it may determine exactly who gets the $2,000 dividend and who gets left out in the cold. So buckle up, guys. Stick with me because I'm going to break it all down. What changed in Trump's plan and why? The income cap leak that Bessent just dropped, who now appears first in line after the November 12th payments, and the real timeline of when the $2,000 checks could hit your mailbox or direct deposit. The media won't explain this clearly. Washington won't explain it at all, but I will. So let's get into it. Hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, so let's begin right here. Right now, November 2025, because the timing couldn't be any more explosive. Just 2 days ago, the very first wave of November Social Security payments started hitting the bank accounts of seniors born between the 1st and the 10th of November. But while that money was landing, something else was shifting behind the scenes. This brand new timeline from President Trump on the $2,000 tariff dividend. Now, that overlap has thrown the entire country into confusion. People are asking, did the check timeline just move forward, or did the rules suddenly change right as the payments went out? And just so that we're grounded here, let's recap what happened on November 12th, okay? So seniors born between the 1st and the 10th got their Social Security benefits exactly on schedule. Yes, the payments landed in spite of any kind of government shutdown activity. Everybody got paid, okay? The direct deposits cleared, and for millions, that was a huge sigh of relief, but the relief was temporary because the moment that those checks hit, questions started flooding in. No COLA increase yet, not until January 2026. Some people reported delays. Some people said that their deposits didn't show, and mixed into all of that uncertainty was the brand new tension over Trump's rapidly evolving $2,000 plan. Now, drop an SSI or SSDI or Social Security if you're receiving any of those types of payments right now. And now for anybody who's still waiting, here's where the pressure really builds. So the next wave of Social Security payments is coming on November 19th for those who were born between the 11th and the 20th. After that, the final group, birthdays between the 21st through the 31st, will get their benefits on November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving. And with Trump's $2,000 announcement shaking the entire system, the staggered payout schedule is making people even more anxious because as each group waits for their date, they're wondering if new rules, new caps, or new timelines will hit before their check even arrives. Meanwhile, SSI payments have been thrown into total confusion this month. I mean, many people didn't even realize that they're getting a November SSI payment at all because their November funds were paid early on October 31st. And this was due to the first of the month falling on a weekend. So this early deposit here completely disrupted expectations. Seniors were calling Social Security saying that their payments were missing, thinking it was frozen or delayed or something like that. Phone lines were jammed, agents were overwhelmed. And now with Trump's $2,000 dividend heating up, SSI recipients are terrified that this odd timing might affect their eligibility or even their priority. And before we move on, I really need to say something very important because while Social Security checks are causing confusion this month, there's another crisis that's hitting seniors even harder than that. Retirement's about safety, financial, emotional, and medical. But that safety disappears real fast when your Medicare plan fails. And right now, millions of retirees are getting a message from their doctor saying, we will no longer accept your insurance next year. Call Chapter to get your new coverage. And so this is why I partner with Chapter. They strengthen your Medicare coverage so that you can focus on living and not worrying. Now, one of our viewers, she told me, Chapter made me feel so secure again. Now, honestly, this is what this season's about: security, peace of mind, knowing your health care is protected. So let me ask you, do you really want to risk it? Or do you want to join the thousands who have already started securing their plans? Now, most people, they're already calling the phone number on the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. That phone number is 909-563-8279. And Matt Brady left me a comment just the other day, and you can see it on your screen. He said, Chapter saves me $980 a year. I'm a disabled veteran. This is a huge blessing in my life. Drop an amen down below for Matt. So guys, now let's talk about the biggest shock of the week. President Trump has shifted the timeline for the $2,000 tariff dividend. So out of nowhere, he announced that the payment could arrive sooner than expected, or that key steps inside the administration have accelerated. Now, this is not a rumor. These are Trump's own words. And because he has the authority and the revenue stream from the tariffs backing him, this update sent shockwaves across the country. Seniors are excited, but they're also terrified at the same time. A faster timeline sounds good, but it also means new rules, new caps, and new eligibility could hit instantly. And then came the bombshell from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent: an income cap threshold is now officially being considered. Reports suggest a cutoff somewhere around $100,000 in household income, but nothing has been finalized yet. So this is the first time that the administration has even hinted that certain Americans could be excluded from the $2,000 dividend. Conservatives are split, seniors are panicking, and millions who assumed that they were going to be automatically included are suddenly questioning everything. This uncertainty is brutal. If Trump is speeding up the payment, does that mean that the income cap is coming faster too? And so who exactly is going to get left out is the real question. So let's talk about the early eligibility leaks, because this part matters. Now, President Trump said that the dividend is for most Americans, and historically, that has always included Social Security recipients, SSI, SSDI, low-income families, SNAP recipients, veterans, and even working class households. That group has never, ever been in question. In fact, analysts believe seniors, especially the ones who receive their Social Security checks on November 12th, may actually be the first in line if the accelerated timeline becomes official. But with all the new income cap chatter, people are suddenly asking, will the most Americans promise hold, or will millions end up getting pushed aside? And so now the only reason this $2,000 dividend is even possible is because of Trump's tariff revenue engine. You see, guys, the president has argued repeatedly that tariffs are bringing in trillions of dollars, strengthening the dollar, and giving the U.S. the resources to finally pay down the national debt. He says factories and plants are booming, investments are pouring in, and America is rebuilding. But that raises the question millions are whispering. If the money is already there, then why hasn't the check gone out yet, right? Anybody else watching that? And is anyone else wondering that? Drop a checks in the comments down below if you're wondering why the checks haven't gone out yet too. Is there a deeper fight behind the scenes going on, or is the government struggling to execute fast enough? Now, let's go ahead and break down what must legally happen before the $2,000 dividend can even hit your bank account. So even with Trump pushing this thing forward, Congress still has to move. A new bill must be drafted, passed in the House, passed in the Senate, and then ultimately signed by President Trump. Now, on paper, it sounds pretty straightforward, but Washington never works that way. Republican leadership is mostly aligned, but establishment forces can easily slow things down. Here's the tension, guys. Congress has the power to delay this thing for weeks. Congress can even kill it. Democrats could kill it. The timeline depends entirely on how fast they act. Now, to understand why this moment feels so intense, look at how Trump's stimulus has evolved. Back in July, Senator Josh Hawley floated a $600 tariff rebate. By August, Trump raised it to a possible $1,000 to $2,000 range. And now in November, after seeing new tariff revenue numbers, the president has locked in on at least $2,000 for most Americans. Now, are you guys seeing that the number is increasing? Are you seeing that? They started off at $600 and now it's up to $2,000. Every version has been bigger, bolder, and closer to reality. Now, this pattern matters because it proves one thing. As revenues climb, Trump keeps raising the payout. And that means something major is driving this new timeline shift. In fact, we've also seen that pattern from Doge. You guys remember the Department of Government Efficiency? Elon Musk was running Doge, and they were essentially saying that they want to pay Americans a percentage of the amount of money that was saved. So as the percentage that Doge was saving was increasing, the payout to Americans were increasing, and Trump looks like he's implementing that same strategy that Doge was implementing, whereby the more tariff revenue is collected, the higher he's willing to pay out to Americans. So what exactly is driving the sudden timeline shift? Well, there's several factors colliding all at once. So first, tariff revenue numbers are coming in faster and higher than expected, giving Trump more leverage to push an early dividend. Second, seniors who received their November 12th payments, they have been flooding congressional offices demanding clarity. Third, well, we're headed straight into the holiday season. Let's not forget that. This is where financial pressure spikes dramatically. And on top of that, we're already seeing mixed signals between the Treasury and the White House. Now, that tension right there alone, it suggests internal debates are taking place, possibly a race to finalize that $2,000 rollout. So now let's talk about the part that's scaring people the most. It's the income cap. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's comments point toward a possible cutoff somewhere near $100,000 in household income. Now, of course, nothing has been formally locked in yet. That uncertainty is creating massive anxiety. Millions of Americans who assumed that they were going to automatically be included are suddenly wondering if they're going to be left out. Will retired couples with modest savings be excluded? Will part-time workers or widows get caught in the gray zone? The truth is, no official number exists yet, and that vacuum of clarity is fueling nationwide panic. And so now, seniors, they need to pay very close attention to a few major red flags. Now, first, if your Social Security check did not arrive on time, you must monitor that immediately. Delays right now could affect the verification process later. Second, Medicare premium adjustments and deductions will shift starting January 1st, which could throw off your monthly balance. Third, the COLA increase still won't kick in until January 2026, leaving many feeling a little bit squeezed, to say the least. And finally, depending upon how Congress structures a $2,000 dividend, there could be tax implications. None of these issues can be ignored right now. So why is everything happening at once? Because the political and economic forces behind the scenes are colliding, guys. Congress is overloaded and behind schedule, mainly due to the shutdown. The Treasury is scrambling to finalize revenue reports. The economy is slowing down into the holiday season, and families are feeling financial pressure weeks before Thanksgiving. And Trump knows that relief delivered right now would land at the exact moment Americans need it the most. But here's an even deeper question that no one wants to ask out loud. Is the $2,000 dividend a rescue package, or is it a pressure valve to calm a system that's already under strain? Now, let's talk about the public reaction, because this is unlike anything we've seen in years. Social media is exploding with the people demanding answers, screenshots of bank accounts, rumors, and screenshots of Trump's posts. Seniors are emailing congressional offices nonstop. Disability recipients, SSI, SSDI, they're terrified that they're going to be excluded. Now, veterans are angry that the income cap is even being discussed, and misinformation is spreading so fast that even officials can't even keep up with it. The urgency is real. People want clarity right now, but Washington is speaking in riddles, offering these half statements and vague updates that only make the national confusion worse. So what does all this mean specifically for Social Security recipients? Well, historically, every version of Trump's dividend proposal, whether it was $600, $1,000, or $2,000, explicitly included seniors. Social Security benefits have always been at the core of the plan, but with the sudden talk of an income cap, even this group is feeling a little nervous. In fact, the good news is, though, early drafts still show Social Security recipients included. The tension is that nobody really knows whether the cap is going to override that. And since the November 12th group already got their checks, they're watching every update more closely than anybody else. So now, here's something most people really haven't thought about. So November 12th may end up being more important than anyone realizes. That first wave of checks, recipients born between the 1st and the 10th, might actually serve as a test group for the accelerated $2,000 timeline. Think about it. Their payments hit first. Their accounts cleared first. They're the first group whose financial status is fully updated in the Social Security system. And with Trump pushing for immediate relief, many analysts believe this group could become the earliest eligible recipients if the dividend gets fast-tracked by Congress. So what happens next from today? November 14th, moving forward? Well, the House is preparing for its next session, where the dividend framework could be introduced. Now, Treasury officials are expected to release updated tariff revenue numbers that may determine whether the $2,000 is fully funded yet or not. Now, the Senate could counter with its own version, including or excluding the income cap. And so this is where the suspense peaks. Nothing's guaranteed yet. We are basically in the exact window where the proposal could accelerate rapidly or it could hit a political resistance. Now, the next several days will dictate the entire trajectory of the $2,000 payout. So here's what you need to know right now. Here's what you need to do right now. First, check your Social Security payment status, especially if you're still waiting for your November deposit. Delays must be reported. Second, keep an eye on every official announcement that's coming from the Treasury, the White House, and of course, Social Security, SSA, the Social Security Administration. Third, you need to double check your income documentation because if an income cap is implemented, accuracy will matter. And finally, do not assume that you're automatically included in that $2,000 dividend until the final bill is passed. This is a moving target. Staying informed is the only way to protect yourself. So here's my final warning. The $2,000 tariff dividend is real. The revenue is real. Trump's commitment is real, but the payout is not yet secure. So legislative gaps remain. The income cap is unresolved. Treasury and the White House they're not perfectly aligned. Let's just say that. And Congress can either accelerate this relief or they can stall it for weeks. Now, the next 7 to 14 days will determine everything. This is the most important moment yet. So stay alert, stay prepared, and stay tuned because the path to this $2,000 check is moving fast and the details are changing by the hour. We'll see you next time.